So my group just finished the new dungeon, the Demonweb Pits. Now here's going to be a run through of a mix between our runs today. The last boss will be our very first try, and this run, as you see here, is our third run of the master version. Before that, things got a bit messy here and there where a few of us were still learning the mechanics. I personally didn't know what I was doing on some of the bosses, and thus, yeah, unnecessarily dying here and there. I think it's more beneficial for you guys. I show a bit more of a cleaner run, and I can give some commentary on top of that. Now here we've gotten to the first boss. Very straightforward. You may recognize this area as very similar to the weekly quest that I showed in week 3 of the Demonweb Pits campaign. That being if you're following my previous server videos. So this boss right here is one of those demons who has the 6 arms and those swords, and she has this ability where she can like clone herself, and then there's multiple of her, and I think this mechanic is slightly bugged at the moment. Only one person is supposed to have like the eye and then know which one's the real one, and to break her free from being in the clone form, you're supposed to deal lots of damage to the one which is not the clone. Yeah, anyway, at the moment, everybody can see who's not the clone. She also has this mechanic then where she rotates around with this laser beam. You get caught by it, you die. And otherwise you can deal some damage to her, but she's very buffed. She's very resistant. And yeah, just a bit of a meme there. Niklas was trying to see if you could lie down and go underneath it. Apparently not. And yeah. My bad there, positioning the boss. She has some pretty nasty AoE attacks there and can shred through anybody in front of her. She has this attack here where you have these large red areas. You can just run around and you need to avoid them. Everyone that does hit you will give you a debuff and cause you to take increased amount of damage. Some of the times I do get hit there and it doesn't add a debuff. Not sure what's up with that. Maybe I got hit by some of these fireballs. There are these fireballs which will follow you around, deal damage over time, but they will just die out themselves, or you can kill them. The debuff that, let's say, ARtu has right now will cause him to take increased damage. You definitely don't want to be taking that as a tank, so you just need to avoid those meteors. Here again, she does the laser thing at like 50% of her health. And yeah, again, it's just a bit of waiting here. You can get your daily and just rotate. I would like them to add a bit more spice to this as it's a little bit boring, but it is what it is. And then, yeah, back to just tanking her there. She hits pretty hard, so you need to make sure you tanks on the ball, have that stamina, have that defensive daily if needed, and healer needs to be on the ball too. Here comes the clones again. They all attack, and yeah, can hurt quite a lot. But not too bad, to be honest, especially if you got like a paladin healer who's going to back you up with a bunch of shields there. Very nice. Here we go with artifacts. We burst the boss down, and she's going to phase again pretty soon. And there come the meteors. This time you got to be careful because she's actually going to do the laser at that point. Here's like, where do I go? You have a bunch of fireballs there. And then you also have the meteors. Make sure to try to avoid them. When you go to the outside, it seems a bit easier, but I guess you can get cornered easier there on the outside as well. We got hit by one meteor there. Just trying to tuck in here to get around and not get lasered. That's at the point where it gets a little bit more challenging. So the beginning phase is a bit like a tutorial, but we got hit by 2 of those meteors, so we have 2 of those debuffs. We are taking a bit more damage, but it's not that noticeable that we are going to die. I'm lucky here we didn't actually die. Stun of health off cooldown. And yeah, the boss, I don't see it as that challenging. Not too heavy with regards to mechanics, but interesting to throw in this like clone mechanic here. They need to fix it up a bit so not everybody can see who the actual one is. But yeah, then you get this rotating here with 4 of them when you have the clones. But otherwise, not much to it. And I don't think the boss has to be overly challenging. Just maybe, yeah, tone up the damage a little bit because it's very survivable on the tank if you know when to block and have your resources up for survivability. Same for the healer. Don't have much else to do then heal the tank, at least for the most part, unless people are taking unnecessary damage from like meteors during that phase. And if the tank can aggro all these guys, yeah, DPS don't take any damage. They can just run away and it's all fine. Here again, you get the 4 lasers. I just need to be careful. Yeah, sometimes if you're in a bad position when it starts, you can get wrecked, but you can predict it by looking at where they orientate themselves. And the boss in particular will always orientate herself to like the left of the map, or west as it were on the map, and she'll start her laser there and then rotate. And that's it. We killed the first boss. You get your reagents there, your Loth's Ruin, and that'll give you the currency for the campaign store where you can buy the legendary gear. The bosses themselves can drop you some of the masterwork gear depending whether you're in the advanced version or the master version. They have different ones they drop, which can be pretty good then to use it as a farm for some astral diamonds to much like if you were farming whiskers in the Vault of Stars. We're going to have this with this new dungeon. There is a bit of a higher item level requirement though. It's like 60,000 for advanced, and it's freaking 85,000 for master. Pretty crazy. Now here we're just again going through the corridors of the city and killing groups of enemies. Just be careful, they can hurt pretty hard, so I generally initiate with a stun and we move on to the next group. Now here you have a bit of an arena. You're just gonna have to fight some waves of ads, so make sure you're all grouped up and then rush in here, and as soon as you initiate this group, the rest of them are all gonna come at you as well. So just gotta be careful there. They do quite heavy amounts of damage, especially when you let them get combat advantage damage against you. And yeah, again, fortunate not to die here. Good healer, and some luck with it on my side too. Just group up the enemies, kill them all, and then you'll be on to fighting a mini boss. Not the second boss, just a mini boss popping out of this tear here. It can be random which one you get. Like this time we got one of these guys. They did give them actually an updated mechanic, these ads in particular, where they can grab you with their pincers and they can hold you there for like a good 5 seconds. Can cause you to get wrecked, specifically in the second boss. We'll go in there. I have managed to successfully block it most of the time, so you probably won't see it this run. But yeah, you kill those guys and you're moving on again to the next ad group. And I don't believe you can skip any of that because it's the mission objective to actually kill those guys and close the tear. So yeah, then you just kill this group and we'll be heading off to the next group in a second, and then you're on to the second boss. Fairly straightforward. Again, if you run the campaign, you'll be familiarized with this area kind of. But that's not all the dungeon. You get into a completely new area when you actually go to the third boss. Just, yeah, beat up these demons here. They're all demon ads. So if you have any demon slayer and or wards, they could be pretty useful as overloads. But with them killed, we can then go to the second boss. Now this boss is like a drow, but she has a lot of fancy summoning mechanics. First of all, she has the ability she can shield herself, which basically just gives her an extra layer of hit points. But she'll try always have a shield up. I'm not sure what the time is that she doesn't have one, but she'll be summoning things like these fireballs and different demons, especially when she gets later on and you actually damage her a bit. So here we're just beating down her shield, and then we're going to go for the artifact call and the big burst. And yeah, just trying to hold the threat there. It's a bit annoying when you delay an artifact call, to be honest, with threat, because I need to allocate resources. But here she shielded herself like immediately after we stripped down her shield, which is a little bit odd, but yeah, you might have to encounter that. And this boss fight takes a while. There's a lot of hit points to get through, specifically because this boss shields herself, and you'll see a little bit later. You get all these different ad spawns as well. We generally focus on the boss, damaging her until she gets shielded, and then kill the ads that spawned in. Here we got like a Garistro. He has this charge ability, which can bug him into the wall, or if you get hit by the charge ability, he'll put like a debuff on you, which is relevant to one of the achievements, I believe, like Hex or something. No Hex, it's called. Don't get hit by this charge. Still not 100% sure on that, but yeah, you need to keep on top of killing the ads, along with doing enough damage to the boss to actually affect her hit points and not just have her shielded the whole time. Anyway, no idea if it's a he or a she, but Grumpf Bairn, I guess that's his name, her name. Yeah, so there's a lot of hit points to get through between her summoning things and just her shielding herself continually. I'm not sure what's up with the like the text indicators there. Sometimes they just come up all the time. You've seen that there with the red, but 50% she phases and she does a tank buster, much like Hallister, this massive orb, and puts it on you and deals pretty heavy damage. So you need to get that mitigated. And then Orcus spawns in, along with some other demons. Yes, this is Orcus from your Tomb of the Nine Gods. I guess also from Castle Never, but more like the Tomb of the Nine Gods. He has that same cone ability, which will push you back. He has the same like power word death, and yeah, otherwise this main attack, the auto attack on the tank, does, yeah, pretty heavy damage if not put in check. And just be aware of that cone ability. He's going to do it on anybody in general, and then that power word kill on somebody that points the finger at them and does heavy damage to them. And he's just otherwise a big bag of hit points. You will get summons throughout as well. You need to keep on top of them. Here we tried to move out of the cone, it pushed us back, and then put the finger on us. And here we got like another one of those fireballs. We got a Balgora, and we got this like crab thing. You could see ARtu there got stunned. He got CC'd, crowd controlled by that demon, the demon with the pincers. We were calling it the crab. Here he's gonna get me, I believe. Yeah, I'm stunned here. He's like got me strung up. You can see between his pincers. Yeah, that's a new attack he has. You might want to focus killing him quickly before he goes and ruins people's day with that. You also need to watch out for the boss. She will regularly do tank busters on the tank. This can happen at any time, I've found. Like, I'm being strung up by that demon, and then I can get the tank buster on me, and I could die if I'm not like full HP with some mitigation. So I'm trying to like fight with my camera tilted up a bit so I can keep an eye out. This attack buster is going to go on me now. So I use my tab shield there, and we took that 1.8 million, and well, the barbarian was too close to me. I guess I should have moved a bit away first, but I didn't, and he died. So yeah, big bag of H points, Mr. Orcus. You go, you finally kill him, and you're back to the main boss. You still got all the ads though, and they'll keep spawning more in. And she's still gonna shield herself, but this time she's gonna, yeah, do the tank buster every now and again as well. Again, I don't know what's all with that floating text there of like critical strike, glowing flame, savage. You can read them all there. Yeah, that was the tank buster just there. And then we call artifacts, get some big burst in just after we've popped her shield, so we can deal as much damage to her actual hit points before she goes and shields herself again. She has very similar attacks to what you'd have in, I believe it's Cragmire Crypts, where you fight the pirate guy. I can't remember his name, Black Dagger or something. She'll like lunge at the person who's furthest away. And then she also has that arcing attack ability in front of her. You can just move away a little bit, even as tank, and she won't hit you. That's why you'll see the boss will regularly just be freaking on the opposite side of the platform than me. And that was the tank buster again there, just a big orb, much like Hallister, charges up the orb and then throws it at you. And it's an area effect as well, so you don't want to be next to people. Now this boss does have a DPS check, a damage check, and that'll be once she hits 5%. So we're saving our artifacts here. We want to get some more damage in before she shields herself again. So we want to chip her down to like 6% or so. And once she shields herself and we go into the finale, then we call artifacts. And you can see it's like Hallister. It's the Sunfall ability. Take tons of damage over time, which builds up, and you just got to kill her quick enough. Now we can see when we do kill this boss, a bit bugged here, but there we go, that she will actually drop gear. The other bosses should be able to drop gear as well. We also get items there for professions. We got some of the fallen gods, or you can get some of the abyssal crystals or perfect Marilith hair, and you can get this mythic gear, the new abyssal mythic gear. I'll cover in a video, cover all the bonuses, test out whether they work or not, what's bugged, and we can see what's there. But there are some definite good pieces in there, but quite the grind. I personally have only seen this gear drop from the second boss, but I'm pretty sure others have got it from other bosses. But you interact with the realm engine and you end up in this area, which is, yeah, pretty cool. You just have to beat up a bunch of spiders and you got pathways that lead you up to the boss. And yeah, I like it. You are pretty high up, so if you don't like heights, well, yeah. You just follow along these paths, follow the sparkly line. You need to traverse the Demonweb pits and just, yeah, beat up spiders. Part of it reminds me a bit of like the Infernal Citadel, where you're traveling up these ways, just killing ads to traverse higher along, raise up the portcullis, and then you have a big room of spiders here. Be careful, there's quite a lot of them. Make sure you have some crowd control at least to deal with them. And once you kill the rest of them, then this portcullis will automatically raise up. And here you can just jump down a little bit or take the stairs and kill some more demons. So lots of spiders and demons throughout this dungeon. The ad groups aren't too threatening, to be honest, especially if you got a decent group with some crowd control. And so you generally aren't going to have anybody struggling on that. It's going to be that second boss. A lot of people are going to struggle, mainly due to a battle of attrition, like getting through all that hit points without dying, without making too many mistakes, and just keeping on top of killing ads, along with dealing enough damage to the boss to actually get anywhere. So yeah, just going through here, killing a bunch of spiders. I'll just, yeah, play this all through so you can see the entirety of the dungeon. But this group right here, you gotta kill them before you can continue. I tried to, yeah, like jump over this. We get pretty high on top of here, but there's a barrier which won't let you pass. So you gotta wait, and then you just gotta head up here. Some more demons here. Kill them off, some hounds and some mains. Just leave my group and head off further on. Got quite a cool place here with a catapult, which you gotta fire. And you can see once you do launch it, it launches the payload over and then drops a stair for you, which you will need to get to Loth herself. So we're just navigating along here, a pretty long way down, and just stun these guys so they can do too much damage. And you're on to the next group of spiders. This is just kind of filler content in the dungeon, to be honest. Beating up spiders, making your way to Loth might be a bit problematic for those of you who want to speed run this dungeon, and you're going to have to beat it under 20 minutes in order to get the achievement. Yeah, that might be a bit of a struggle considering second boss takes quite a while, and then you have all these pathways to get through with beating up the ads. I'm sure you can do strats like grouping up the enemies, but here we get to the last boss. Now with this recording, this is my first time at the boss, the first time I faced her. I got some information on one or two mechanics, like when you get the red area you need to run away, and that was about it. So yeah, these are the red areas. You need to move as soon as you get them on you. If you stay where you were, you die. And this attack, yeah, I did not expect that. And yeah, I got wrecked because it didn't block. and I didn't move accordingly. I died, well, aggro becomes an issue. So I need to switch over to having a taunt, and the DPS just need to scram, not get hit. Because, yeah, you can do that as a tank too. You can run away and not get hit. Now you may have seen 2 of the DPS there got chained. You can see the red chain between them. They need to stay next to each other and they don't take damage. It's a bit, yeah. Before we've had chains where you need to break them by running apart. Here you need to stay together. Now we got hypo on me. I didn't block one of the attacks which made me crowd controlled. And if I'm not crowd controlled, you can usually take the hypo alone. But I was crowd controlled, so I had to tank the hypo with everybody else. There is a specific attack that the boss does that will knock you over and stun you like that. There's also a second one where you will get a random spider run onto the platform and like jump in your face and crowd control you. Right here we got some spiders which you can kill, which are these phase spiders. You just, yeah, they're just kind of distractions. They're gonna kill you if you don't deal with them. So not so sure what to do as the tank. Should I taunt them, which just ends up making them harder to kill? Here again we got the crowd control, some weird thing which moves my head. But yeah, they group up and we take the hypo together. Again, I didn't block the Pacific attack. I didn't even know it was an attack I could block at this first run. Future runs went a lot more smoother when I'm being able to know when that trigger is and actually block it. So yeah, she's got some nasty striking attacks there, but once we hit 50%, she's going to phase. She becomes immune. We get these chains. These are in particular the chains where you need to stay next to each other. This is when I found out what they do. And the boss, meanwhile, has teleported up to a platform and she drops this statue on top of you. Tilts the entire platform and then rocks begin to fall down. And you just need to move out of these areas or you take some pretty heavy damage. I'm in my inventory, getting pummeled and not ideal at all. I go for that buffing up there. And yeah, we got smacked here. And if we skip back, there is this nasty knock up ability that we just received like here. And then we get wrecked. It's when like the boss or when you kind of phase and the platform tilts flat. I'm not sure why. But here you have like a mini boss, which is that spider, which ideally the tank takes, but you can crowd control it. And then the objective is to beat up this godly weapon. Yeah, it's just sticking in the platform and you just gotta damage it. However, you get these spiders which will spawn either side of the platform. And these spiders can heal the weapon. And you may notice my teammates will crowd control those spiders. You can just, like as a wizard, use entangling force and the spider won't do anything. That's the green beam. You saw the spider put on it. If you push the spider off the edge, they will just teleport back. And the spider's back was healing it again. And now we crowd control the spider and you need to kill the spider. And they'll spawn every now and again. So yeah, not entirely sure when to do the artifacts here. Again, they try to push the spider off, but it's just going to teleport behind them and heal the thing again. So yeah, anyway, we go artifacts here and we are going to try and kill the weapon. At the same time, you're all taking damage. You can see the spiders dashing across the screen. That is everybody taking area of effect damage. Right now it's hitting for like over 100k on a tank. It's probably hitting over 200k on a DPS. They're all standing in the hollowed ground. So with a cleric, usually not any trouble out healing it. We ran this then later with a paladin. You can watch my stream if you want to see the entire gameplay. And the paladin healer could out heal this. You just need to make sure you're doing the artifact call earlier on and just crowd controlling those spiders earlier on as well. So here the boss is back and I'm like, oh, I have no taunt. Oops. So DPS need to watch out. And at this point, the Loth has a shield ability. So she can shield herself as well. And she also then will spawn spiders. Still does with the chains ability. We go for artifacts here. I need to watch out for those pincers. That kind of stabby attack. It's not AoE. It's very much single target. So not too much trouble when you stand next to people. But again, those people have chains there. And you may have seen that this area went on the ground. I think it's bugged right now. And yeah, I totally lost the aggro there. just not having my Templar's Wrath to, yeah, was not ideal to switch that out. I should have switched Absolution out 100%. Don't really need Absolution to survive, it'll help, but I'm better off having some threat than my teammates dying to aggro. Anyway, again, first try here, I totally screwed things up. Didn't know exactly what powers I should be using when and what I should be blocking and when. So yeah, first time learning here. Absolutely some mechanics I need to learn. Here's we got the hypo on me there. Everybody rushes over to save me, but we die because the boss attacks me at the same time. That is why you need to be blocking that attack so you don't get controlled like that. Again, this is previous server, things are still open to change. You may very well not be intended to actually be able to block that, and that might be intended you get control like that, and your team has to come and share the damage, and the healer needs to be there to heal you. Who knows? But again, the boss will regularly shield herself, so you need to have enough damage to output enough to actually take her hit points. She has the same mechanic here where you get the red areas, you need to run away from the original area you were at and not into somebody else's original area. But again, she has a DPS check, but you just get her down to 0% of her hit points before she does that DPS check. Now again, the dungeon seems a little bit easy. You can see, like, this was our first time running this boss, and we get it first try. Yeah, here's the hypo again. You can see I did manage to block it, and so this time I'm not crowd controlled. It was just by chance that I managed to block it. I believe I was tanking with my tab power, which automatically makes me control immune, because I didn't really need any more threat. Like, people had died enough, or I had built up enough by placing more taunts on top of their damage, so it wasn't any trouble there. But that was the area on the ground again. But at this point, you get the boss to 0%, and she'll teleport away and teleport back, shield herself, and you're at the countdown. You have 1 minute to kill the boss before it's all over. And right now it seems a little bit easy. 3 people, 3 damage dealers who are good enough will have no trouble with this. We've done it with 2 damage dealers in multiple runs. Again, you can watch my stream for the replay. And you kill her, and that's it. We completed the Demonweb pits. No spider deaths. We got some bugged achievements there. I got the vanity pet, and we get the achievement for ultimately beating the dungeon. And yes, this dungeon will drop the new weapons, the perfect Loth weapons. And these ones have a ton of item level and give you 250 base damage. They'll effectively replace the Weaver weapons for any content outside of Underdark. We obtained some of the Marlith hair there. There's a second drop in this dungeon, so there's pretty good drop rate. And we also obtained the little Loth vanity pet. And then we can get our chest. And these chests will drop the new set, the Marlith set, along with the artifact, the mask. So we just go and accept that. Now the vanity pet, little Loth, will look like, where is she? She's very little indeed. Yeah, it's bugged right now and it doesn't show. You see the collar right there, the green thing, that is supposed to be her. I guess they haven't finalized her figure just yet. There will be an ultimate achievement or a meta achievement to go with this, and it will be called Cutter of Chaos. And you have this series of achievements to beat. We don't know the reward of completing all of them, but you can see we got like no spider deaths and no hacks, and I think a few of them were bugged. Then you gotta beat it with like deathless, you gotta beat it within a certain 20 minutes, you gotta beat it at minimalist item level, and then a bunch of other boss specific ones. And we can see that the master dungeon right here is going to need 80,000 item level. That's in private queue. In public queue, you can see it needs 85,000, and the advanced dungeon needs 60,000. Again, in private queue, 5,000 less. And you want to be doing this content in private queue, to be honest, because yeah, why would you run it in public when you can't then sort players, somebody disconnects, you can't replace them, etc. But ultimately, I like the look of this dungeon. Maybe a tad easy on master version right now, but it's very nice to see it has the new masterwork reagents in there, and they drop pretty regularly. So you'll be able to farm those, sell those, and people will be able to use them to create the new weapons, gear, rings, etc. Module 26 looking pretty good. So we'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.